6, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 easy things MOONTON could do in an afternoon or two to drastically improve this game for both new players, mid-game players, veteran players. What do you got to say, Odd One? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back to Watcher Realms like fully, and it's good to be back on your channel as well. Looking forward to this one because this is something that even though the game's doing amazing, honestly, they're a really good game, but this could make it so much better.
Yeah, the game, it's funny. The same thing happened last year. It was kind of a disastrous end of January. Same thing happened in 2024, where just like the lowest I'd ever seen the numbers, both in terms of checking YouTube analytics, what I anecdotally felt in the game, and then checking my own YouTube analytics and stuff like that, right? The numbers they actually give us. But then it rebounded, and it took a little longer this time, but it rebounded. And I think this Easter weekend event was a home run, as hot as the game has been in a long time. But we want to give MOONTON tips to keep the train chugging, right? Keep this momentum moving forward. So we each prepared 3 things that they could pretty easily fix, right? Don't you think they could fix this just with like minimal code, minimal gameplay changes? It's just little fixes, little additions, little conveniences to take the game to another level.
Yeah, 100%. Because like at least 5 out of the things, these 6 things might be like easy fix. One might need a little bit more because one might be I have something that might be work over time. Right, but
True.
I guess these are things that me and you, obviously, we both noticed this as playing, and a few of the things that I obviously have on my list are stuff that I've noticed restarting the game, right? Playing the game again as free to play from the beginning and stuff, and I noticed, okay, these are things that were not as enjoyable and could put players off, right? Definitely, if they watch, they need to do this now.
Absolutely. So that's a perfect transition. We did just do a little review, a little coaching, a little roasting on your channel of your day 79 free-to-play account. So we'll have a link to your channel and that video in the description, the top pinned comment. But without further ado, let's get into it. How about I kick things off? Because I think I have one of the simplest, one of the easiest, one of the most important things that must be done in Watcher Realms.
Yep, go ahead.
All right, number 1, we need access to key skills, key abilities, key debuffs, whatever that is, through epic heroes. You know, people like to rag on other gacha games. The big bugaboos always raid Shadow Legends, and often with good reason. There's a lot of issues in that game. You know that maybe as well as anyone, right, Odd One?
Yeah.
However, they do something incredibly well. In their defense, or maybe MOONTON's defense, Raid is an older game with so many more characters, right? Like here, if we look, we've got 225. Raid has over 900 champions. We have 225 heroes. So I'm not really giving MOONTON the hardest time, but the game's old enough. It's time to start doing this. We need to have epics that can do key abilities, key debuffs, the way other games do. So in Raid, yes, the epics almost always are worse than legendaries. Not always, but almost always. But for any key skill, there's an epic that can do it, but a little worse. We need that in Watcher of Realms. So like the biggest, most glaring one, I think we'll agree, is anti-heal. So you got all these ways to get it, all these ways, not that many, but it's like Demi, super rare, exclusive, ancient lord. We've got Lasir, legendary hero. We've got Artemis, legendary hero. Then we've got, Kriya, for example, kind of clunky. You get her at A1, a pretty bad anti-heal. And then finally, Zealous, you need his exclusive artifact, and it's the worst anti-heal in the game, and that's your list, man. That is it. There is no epic in this entire game that has anti-heal, and it's not such a busted ability. It's not some special thing that needs to be reserved for legendaries. So you don't need an epic that has the best anti-heal in the game. It doesn't have to be like an Artemis or a Demi or even a Lasir. But don't we need epics that can do these things? And it's the game's too old. It's been around too long to not have something like this. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's the reality. When you become an established game, like Watcher Rooms has become, right? Since they came out, they're definitely an established game. They're still getting in new players. And not having these key things like an anti-healing that's an epic hero just puts people off because people start playing the game, people start advancing, and then they beat Gear Raid 1, and then they get to stage 19, and they're like, why is this not dying? Why does he heal? Let me see what I can get. They go to they go to gallery, they see, oh, it's only legendaries that do it. And that kind of does them bad favor, right? It kind of gives Watcher bad image. But they're not. They're actually, honestly, though, from my point of view, just straight up bluntness, I played Raid for years. This is the most balanced and best game I played, with generosity, with heroes and stuff. Yes, the key things like now, anti-healing, we definitely need it, but overall, they're doing a great job. So they 100% need something like that, because
I think
otherwise you're just getting there and people get put off. That's the problem. Is they lose players because like if you don't have at least an epic to do that, right? So like do I transition my thing? That's just
Well, I
transition
just
to
want to
my
quickly say, I think that's a really good point that I went to made. It's like it actually gives new players the wrong impression and leaves the wrong taste in their mouth.
yeah.
Right? You think, oh, this is some stupid pay to win BS. You need legendaries. When actually, this is like we all know it right now from this Easter stuff. It's the most generous game ever. They give you a million different ways to get
Yep.
summons. You can pull more than any gacha I've ever played. However, I think kind of rightfully so. Those players get a nasty impression, whether it's the right impression or not, saying, "Wow, all these key things are hidden behind legendaries." Right. So in theory, you're going to get enough summons over not that long a period of time that you've got to pick up Lyseer or Artemis over time, right? And for a lot of people, that'll be true. But for some people, you'll go hundreds of days without it happening. And then you're just pissed off at the game when you don't need to be. Easily, you could go and give Osiren anti-heal and give him a 50% anti-heal, and it is fixed, right? Because this is a useless piece of crap character. And then you could make him a little bit relevant and help people that are in a tight spot. The last thing before we go over to your first one is Dispel, right? We don't have any way to dispel buffs from the enemy in an epic form. We just got our fourth hero in the game that can do it. That's Talon over here. That has forsaken me. You know, I pulled 1,200 times trying to get her and I didn't get her.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
But she's got a great Dispel over here, really, really strong. Then obviously we've got a limited hero, so super rare, but the best Dispel in the game is Kagiri. We've got a great Dispel in Lucius over here. And then finally, we've got Lyra. These are all good heroes. You do have 4 options, though one of them is limited. But the key thing, they're all legendaries. So here's another example, right? It's this easy. Take a crappy, this is why we're saying it's an easy fix. You know, be like, oh, you're expecting them to make a whole new hero? That's not fair. No, do a rework. Like I said, give Osiren anti-heal at 50%, not even 100%. Make it fine, right? Go here to, we had Lyra as an Infernal. Who's the most forgotten epic in the game? I would probably say Azoth. Give Azoth a Dispel. Boom, you're done, right? They did this with Nasandai. They gave Nasandai a cleanse because
I love her.
you love it, right? Before Tallulah, it was just Eloin and Midon. So if you didn't happen to have Midon and you still need 2 teams, right? So one team, you're just screwed. You'd have Midon and then you're screwed. Then they added Tallulah and then they added an epic. They just reworked Nasandai. It was 1 line of text. It was when she ults, there's 1 burst of cleanse to dispel debuffs. Do that for buffs. Make an anti-heal epic. You are good to go. What do you have for us? You've got a great one, right? Actually, I think we're in the right faction.
Yeah, we're exactly the right faction. This has been like the bane of my existence. Even on my main account, I actually pulled an Ivar before I pulled a Lunaria, to be fair. So the problem with this thing is, again, same principle as with the anti-healing, as with the buff dispeller. Having a Piercer Lord is so much important. It's so important to just not just gear rate 3, honestly, but like, because we know we can do it, but it's so much harder. But in any area of the game, just having a Piercer Lord makes your, easy to obtain Eidrils, Briannes, which are amazing epics, right? Progress through the game. Even the Sunday that we talked about as the healer gets range increase. You need to have that as a permanent fusion. And you know what? While we're talking about that, from my point of view, they should have all of these key epics that we're talking about. 1 anti-healing, 1 buff dispeller, and you know what? Put Eliza. Don't have to be Lunaria. Put Eliza as a permanent fusion. Have these 3 key things be permanent fusions, because then when players come to the game and they get stuck in like, what do? I don't have anti-healing, I cannot remove buffs, I don't have a Piercer Lord. They go to their summons, they go to the fusions like, oh, they actually have epics that are key epics as permanent fusion. People are going to love the game even more. It's going to make it so much easier to keep their player base, right? Because they're not going to seem like you need legendaries to pass content, because that's what you see, right? If you don't watch YouTube much, you can't play for like 30 days and you get stuck, that's gonna be a problem. You can have, you know what, even the ones that you see there, like you suggested,
Yeah, just buff them.
buff them. Get the epics, you know what, go to your statistics, see which are the least 2 used epics in the game, and give those 2 1 anti-healing, the other one give them
Exactly.
buff remover. That's it.
I
And
think
then just
that's
put Eliza there.
I think it's a great suggestion. You've got a great mind for like marketing and player impression. Cause yeah, all of a sudden, instead of players going and saying, this is such BS, I need to pull a super rare epic lord or an even rarer legendary lord to unlock this key skill. They're like, wow, this game's actually so cool. They're giving me a free path to do it. And they could make it hard. If you put Lunaria or Eliza here, they could make it hard. It could be like you have to get 5 guys to level 50 instead of level 40, 5 stars promotion. You can make them like random epics you're going to have to pull. So it might take months, right? But within 5 or 6 months at worst, you'll get it done, right? And that would be huge. You get your Eliza, you get your Lunaria. You could take Theowen and put Dispel on Theowen. He's already here, like you said.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
do the Azoth example, throw Azoth in here. Lightlock could get a cleanse if you wanted. Lightlock's not used right now.
Exactly.
Simple stuff like that. Give Livian a Dispel if you wanted. You throw a Siren in here and you give him the heal reduction, heal block, anti-heal. Like there's a lot of ways to do this, like you said, and you spin the narrative on its head. Instead of it being like, ooh, I don't like this about this game's actually making me not like it. You're like, wait, I love this about this game. I do not think it hurts Moonton's pocketbook. I don't think it hurts their bottom line. I think it actually improves everything because people fall in love with what's a really good game faster. Mine, I've said this forever, but I don't think I've said it in a video in like a year. I used to say this all the time when I started. If you guys don't know, we have, not counting Chaos, Dominion, and Supreme Arbiters, so our 2 like ancient exclusive factions, we have 7 factions, right? Watchguard, North Throne, Nightmare, Cursed, Infernal, Starpiercer, Esoteria Order. But of these 7, only 3 of them have a rare lord. We've got Borit over here for the Watchguard. We obviously have Dagna for the North Throne. And then finally we have Nero for Cursed Cult. Having a rare lord is not super OP and crazy, but it helps you so much that first month or 2 or 3 in the game. And I actually think at this point in the game, I've been playing, I started only like 3 weeks after the game came out, 3 or 4 weeks, so 626 days. We're talking over 650 days into the Watcher Realms experience. There's no reason not to have a rare lord for every faction. And these lords, their kits can be terrible. It doesn't matter, right?
You gave me a better idea. Introduce a rare Piercer Lord.
Yeah. Well, that was my transition. Yeah, that's where I was getting at.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a fusion. Just make it a rare. Like, let's be real. Add a rare lord for every faction. So add one for the Nightmare Council, add one for Infernal Blast, add one for the Star Piercers as you want, a little Piercer Lord, add one for the Esoteria Order. If you guys don't know how rare lords work because you haven't seen one in a while, they're not so crazy. So basically, it's the Epic Lord, but the effects are a little worse, and the attribute bonus is 5% instead of 10%. But, having Borit giving a little 10% heal boost and damage boost every 20 seconds, as opposed to, the 30% for Ein, that's a lot better than nothing. And that's why they give you Borit on day 1 when you're getting all these good Watchers, right? Watchers like your starter faction. And now it's become an amazing faction. And eventually on day 7, after a week, you get Ein. They understand how this works. There's no reason we shouldn't have a rare Nightmare. You shouldn't have to wait till day 14 for Wrath. You should have the opportunity to pull that rare lord. And it could be really simple, right? What is Wrath doing? He's giving this attack speed boost 5%, 10%, 20%, 35%, and then the little heal reduction, and then obviously the 10% attributes. Add a rare lord, 5% attributes, make it 2%, 4%, 8%, 16%. It's not much, but it's honest work, and it's something. All of this could really help. You'd have the Cursed Cult here, right? We have that with Nero. It's the baby version. It's not that special. If we look at a Bizu or Aeon here, it's a 20% boost to crowd control enemies and a 10% attribute boost. Here it's a 15% boost and a 5% attribute boost. Here with Pyros, you've got the little focus fire and the penetration increase. Just give them a focus fire and a no penetration increase. It could be really simple in the 5% boost. And obviously your favorite, Esoteria Order. I'll do that first before we end on your favorite. Here we cut the skill costs for ultimates by 25%. The epics is 15. Make the rare 5. Make the rare 10. That's enough, right? And then the 5% attribute boost. For the Piercer Lord, what you could do, you could extend the range only by 1 tile. So not a row, just 1 tile. That would make a huge difference. Your Idril would still reach, right? Your Brienne would still reach. Your Nasane might have that extra burst of cleansing. It can be pretty simple, and it would be a pretty clean solution. So right now you can see Yovar, you get this attack range is also increased, and Eliza and Lunaria attack range is also increased. You could have here a Piercer Lord, a rare Piercer Lord, 5% attribute boost, and then it says attack range is moderately increased, and it could be like 1 extra tile in the middle. What do you think about that? You love that?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I was going to try and be cheeky and be like, just introduce a rare, like you said, Lord, that you don't need to make the permanent fusion for Eliza anymore if you do that. But I would still love to have like that 1 extra line. But if you do it like that, like you said, then that could work, I guess. That could be a good idea. I would still keep it to be like, you know what, just keep it a whole row, because that depends. Some heroes you really want those extra sides, you know. That's a tricky thing.
But
It's like
then
for
I agree. But then it's a luxury. That's kind of what I'm
that's
thinking,
true.
you know. But
Yeah.
it's an idea, and I think it'd be really easy. The kits could suck. I mean, besides Borit, I mean, Dagna becomes unusable after 2 weeks, and Nero's basically always unusable at 29 costs with very bad base stats. But yeah, I think that'd be
Yeah.
pretty fun. What do you have for your second thing, Mr. Odd
Okay, so my second thing, because this is, you know what, this was something that I just said, fix arena was what I written down, but I just had more ideas, like,
Please.
because we're gonna change it into rework the Odyssey while you fix arena, because the Odyssey has as one of the things finishing Platinum 3 for 3 seasons in a row, right? I'm there at this point on my account, but I can do that because I have Valdoran, because I have Ardea. Like, I got lucky and got insane pulls. But the way that the arena is right now, it's so busted, it's impossible to push from Platinum 2. Like, I think the way that, like, first thing that they need to do, it's like, I think they need to, I don't know, raise the plateau, increase the high, like, let people be able to go higher. Because I go in Platinum 2 and I see 450 teams like that, right? With 80-day account. And then you expect me, because like, yeah, I did grind, I did push some stuff, but they expect me to stay in Platinum 3 when I'm facing teams like that, with fully awakened lords and stuff like that. So either fix the arena or lower the Platinum requirement to make it stay in Platinum 1. Then that would work, right? That's one thing. And then the second thing, since again, I'm connecting this with the init mission, which is a part of that, the next one's gonna be achievement S or above rating for 3 different bosses. It's like you know why this is a problem? Not that it's required to do that, but everything else that's around it makes no sense. It's like before that, I need to beat gear rate 2 and 3 on 19. I did that 2 months ago. And then you require me triple, like to do S on 3 bosses. Next rotation is gonna be a new boss. It's gonna be impossible for me to get S on, S on 3 of the bosses. They're so much higher. They need to balance this. These two key things that I noticed: the achievement and the arena, based on what's happening around it. Right? It's like that's something that they can just go in their stats and look like, oh, everybody beat gear rate 21, but nobody does the S. Why are we asking that? Let's just ask A plus and let's just put plat 1. Easy fix, and there we go. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I have a thought about the arena one, but in general, and this will be a great transition again into my last one, or actually until your last one. You're going to do it. So we'll actually go straight into your third one out of this, because that is a good transition, how they can constantly reevaluate and rework certain things. Wink. But they could do that with the missions too, not just with characters, not just with gears, stuff like that. Because part of me is like, in it should take a while. It's not that simple. Especially since he's going to be key to unlocking one of the harder bosses in the game that should take the normal player a while to unlock. But you make a good point. With these Odyssey quests, you know, they are pretty hyper focused, and they probably have internal data showing how many people are actually hitting those milestones. So I do like it. The key thing I'd like to say with Arena, you saw there, I actually didn't know if I was going to win, even though this isn't such a strong team historically for me that I was going up against. It's because I haven't really done much work at all with these new maps. Which I actually think is a good thing. I think another way they could fix Arena is just every 3 weeks, just throw out a new map. Every 4 weeks, I don't care if it sucks. Like, personally, I don't. You know, you'd be like, oh yes, March 2025, what a good map. But May 2025, what a bad map. And September 2025, mediocre map. Like, it doesn't matter. You can remember the months by the map. I just think keeping anything fresh, the mayhem that has ensued with the new maps, I think is a positive. People are talking to me about Arena more than ever. People keep asking me for Arena content, seemingly forgetting I could not care less about Arena. But hey, I'm going to have to start putting it out because it has people re-engaged with Arena. So that's another way to improve it. Before I do my third, let's do your third, because I think it's a nice transition out of reworking the Odyssey missions. There's some other stuff they could rework as well, right?
Yeah, so while we're talking about reworking and rebalancing, they actually started doing this more. I might be wrong, but they actually started doing this more recently. And again, this has to do with what's happening in the game and even like, content they release. And this all happens because of power crap. So because they introduce heroes, what I see everywhere I go, when I'm trying to push my account endgame, I see Samu Konkigiri. That's all I see. So it's like, if you don't pull them, what do you do? It's like, wait till they come back to try and get them and to push to have the good damage dealer. However, they started doing more hero buffs. And there's some good ones. Like there's some awesome ones. Like Durza's the first one that comes in mind.
Oh, yeah.
That they've done an amazing job. So they need to continue that trend then. Because the way that these games do, they obviously have to introduce power creep, so people need to hunt for the new hero or whatever. So unless they're going to introduce new heroes or more new heroes that are on the same level as those two, right, of Kigiri and Sun Wukong, then they need to rebalance. So Beatrix, you got an amazing one as well.
Yeah, no, what I would, I really like it because when we were having a chat before filming, you were saying like, it's just Sun Wukong and Kigiri everywhere. And I was like, for me, I don't mind that. There needs to be the best. The issue I think we're both talking about, or you've been talking about, I'm about to talk about, with Sun Wukong and Kigiri is that gap between them and the next best for certain content is kind of infuriating. And it's kind of crazy. So you're saying to people, oh, just wait till the next time Kigiri or Sun Wukong's on Raid Up, when Kigiri hasn't been on Raid Up for 7 or 8 months, no news that he's coming soon, and Wukong probably won't be on Raid Up again for, who knows, it could be a year. So it's just not a good situation. One way to fix that problem, yes, maybe you can't introduce other people at their ceiling, but you can raise the floor of the bad heroes. And we've seen it. So this is basically us saying, keep going. They're doing awesome. Just keep doing it. In the past month, we got a god tier buff to Dirtza. I mean, he is on like some of the top Abyss 1 teams in the whole game, right? It's amazing. If anyone hasn't seen, I don't know if you watch it, my Beatrix guide, she is a new hero. She is insanity now, right? These buffs maybe even overdid it. They made these guys so strong, but they took these people, out of the corner of irrelevance and made them special. And then we got one like Calypso, who people have talked about less, but like she's a lot better now. She's not like useless. You can easily use her in that Silas, Yuri, Sargok role in Gear 8-3. She's not as good as them, but she's a real option now. And that's something. The final one I want to say, I'm hopefully going to get my video on her out this week. It kind of fell through the cracks because she's a limited that not everyone has. But the Falsia buff is awesome. Like she can freaking slap now. So they're doing awesome. This is all in the past 6 weeks, these 4 buffs. So don't you think if they could just knock out two a month, right? We're not Raid Shadow Legends. There's only like, what, 80 legendaries or something? Like, just keep it going. Keep it moving, right?
Exactly. And just do like we suggested. 2 legendaries and an epic a month. And everyone's going to be happy, right?
That is perfect. And I've got something that's going to make everyone happy. And it's the simplest one on this list. It really is. We need more ways for people to permanently be picking up, or more permanent fixed ways in the game for people to be picking up auto battles, to pick up multi-battles. And I think it's so simple. They actually just added this fairly recently that every day you can buy, I think it's 60 over here from Arena. I like it. But Moonton, you would only be helping yourself if you just add an extra thing in the diamond shop where people can buy more. You could even make them a little overpriced. If I would love to see them at something reasonable. Maybe it's like 10 auto battles for 20 diamonds. I think that'd be kind of reasonable. But if they wanted to do 10 for 50, at least it gives people a fixed option. And you can buy 99 times a day, right? Like it just gives, especially spenders, like you don't feel like your back's against the wall, or people that like really, really want to farm, you say, all right, I'll skip that 10 pull and I'm going to buy another, 500 auto battles or whatever it is, or 200 auto battles, this, that, and the other. We'll see how the math works out depending on where they settle for the amount. But I just think a permanent fixed way to get this, the way we permanently have ways to get stamina, even if it costs a decent amount of diamonds and stuff like that. But as it stands now, you get your stuff over here weekly from the Awakening shop. You get now the nice daily edition. So I guess you can buy this 3 times. So it's 30 a day you can get from the Arena.
It's 30,
Yeah,
30
3 times, 10 times. So 30. But let's add something else. Like, because right now, all you can really do is refresh here and just troll here, right? Looking for, am I going to get some auto battles for gold? Basically, that's what most people do.
You know what this is? You know what this would do as well? Because you kind of mentioned it earlier of me thinking, the right marketing. By them doing that, by them adding more ways of getting auto battles would mean people would be less likely to use other third-party tools, let's call them, just be able to constantly farm, because they would have that in game. And by doing that, guess what? Watcher rounds through their platform will be more open. That's one of the main KPIs for these games: time spent in game.
You got that. You're so right. You're so good at this, like flipping
I'm
on
trying.
its head
Am I
thing.
hard yet?
Dude, Moonton, he's available. He's available.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like all of these things, just like even this one, like it's a perfect one that you suggested. Same as the other ones. It's all things that we want to suggest to get the game to just be better because we love it.
Shit.
And that's why we're still playing.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking to see if I could find an example quickly on my Discord, but very, 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 very often when I'm on Discord a lot. Half my job's through Discord. I'll be talking to someone and it says playing BlueStacks. It doesn't say playing Watcher of Realms. And that's because people can run macros to exploit this gray area to farm more stuff. It's been confirmed by MOONTON to be a gray area. If anyone's interested, I'll share our types of video in the description of this video. But everyone does this. Every single top player, you have to do it. It's the only way. But they could fix that problem, and all of a sudden, when they're talking to investors or trying to negotiate with people to make a bigger marketing push, they say, look how many hours the game was left open this month. This would help.
Oh yeah, make even more money.
Yeah,
they would make even more money.
Yeah, especially
yeah,
and if you sell them for diamonds, even at a reasonable price. I mean, here, 10 for 15. I mean, I'll do it. I would normally never do this, but just to prove the point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 15 less diamonds I have for summons. So if that adds up over time, if you added that to the gem shop in a permanent way, it would be easy. It would make people happy. And frankly, it would hurt players a little bit because it would deplete their diamonds, or at least it'd be a little trade-off players would have to make. And thus, MOONTON, you will get people buying more W gold and spending more money on your game.
Everybody wins, pretty much.
It is like a win-win-win. Any final thoughts, Odd One? I'm really happy with our lists. What do you got to say?
No, it's been a perfect collab. I just really hope that they watch this and they slowly implement this, because you know what? One thing that they did show us as well as a company is they do actually listen and they do implement quality of life and they do things. So I really hope that, let's say, okay, not in the next month or 2 months. I hope in the next 6 months, all of these things that we talked about on the list, I hope that they're going to be changed. Like, I'm confident, right? I'm confident. What do you think? Do you think they're going to change them or not really?
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments, guys, if you think they'll change them. I'm pretty bullish on the buffs at the very least. And I am kind of optimistic about the auto battles too, because we saw them add them to the arena recently as well. So keep up the good work, MOONTON, but you got a lot of work left to do. So hopefully they watch this. And like you said, they do listen. So people like to say, like, why are you posting this video complaining? Like, you think they listen? They have proven about 24 times they listen. If I make a video or you make a video or someone makes a video, your wife Susie makes a video, they listen to what the community is saying, what the content creators are saying. For better or for worse, but we think for better. So guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Big thank you to Odd One over here. We'll have our other collab on his channel in the description, top and comment, as well as his channel. Share with your mother, guys, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.